Marketing Evolution's impact-based planning software allows you to create media plans in just seconds. These plans include granular, micro-targeted media recommendations to ensure that you're getting the most out of every marketing dollar you spend and to provide a close link to media buying. For example, the software doesn't just suggest a spend for print, leaving you wondering which titles are going to give you the best results, but lets you know exactly which magazines and newspapers, including local publications, to buy. It recommends cable TV stations and national dayparts, specific digital genres, social media, search, mobile, and more. Let's imagine that you're in a planning cycle for your next campaign period and you'd like to create a media plan. After logging into the software, click on the Create New Impact Optimization button on the Homepage tab. First, select your vertical. Next, select your target. Here you can choose from a list of 25 standard base targets comprised of age and gender breaks. Your situation indicates whether or not your brand is a new one or an existing established one. This changes the ingoing assumption. For instance, if you're a new brand, there will be fewer people aware of that brand than if you have an established brand. If you happen to know exactly which percentage of your target population is already, use the slider bar to reflect your brand situation. Next, select your objective. Here you have the option to select a single objective or multiple objectives. If you choose single, select your objective using the drop-down. In the off-the-shelf tool, the available objectives will vary based on the vertical selected. You also have the option to select multi-objective. We've found that our clients will sometimes plan campaigns around multiple objectives and therefore want to determine their optimal media mix based on a mix of objectives. By selecting multi-objective, you can assign weights to different metrics and set pre-campaign levels for each. For example, I want to optimize 80% on awareness and 20% on purchase consideration. The next field is duration. Here, you input the start and end dates for your campaign. Duration will determine how reach and impact builds and will also influence CPM sourcing, since some media levers are more or less expensive at different times of the year. Then enter the budget for your campaign. The software lets you optimize both nationally and locally. If you'd like to consider local markets, select the markets you'd like to optimize in. You can also increase the market index to give that market more weight in the optimization. You can use things like brand development index, category index, or product user penetration as the basis for your index values. You may want to name your campaign so it's easier to reference later, and include any notes, including today's date and time for easy version control. Or you could simply leave the default name. Next are media levers. Here we can select which media levers our campaign will include. On the left side of the screen, you will see a list of media roll-ups. Simply drag and drop the media roll-ups that you would like to consider. Or click on Lever Groups, All Levers, and Apply to consider the hundreds of levers in the list. You can click on the plus sign to expand the roll-ups and view all levers contained within each of the roll-up categories. We have over 800 levers from which to choose. These granular levers on which you can optimize are what we call the golden list. If there are certain magazine publications or networks that you would never buy in, you can also select all, as we just did, then drag these specific levers back to the left side of the screen. For instance, if you sell beer, you're likely going to want to eliminate kid and teen TV networks. The levers on the left side will not be considered in the optimization. Once levers are selected, you can also edit these levers by clicking the Edit button. Here, you can set costs of entry, minimums or maximums at the lever level. This interface allows for flexibility to set constraints that reflect real-world media planning and buying circumstances. For instance, if you're already locked into spending $500,000 in Allure magazine, you could input $500,000 as both a minimum and a maximum here to force the software to include that magazine in the media plan. On this tab, you'll see a list of default costs for each media lever. Here you can override these costs with client-specific negotiated rates. Lastly, on the Impact tab, you can use the sliding scale to indicate whether or not you expect the campaign to perform at, above, or below average. For instance, if you've done some copy testing and your scores were wildly higher than usual, you can indicate that you expect this campaign to perform better than standard. But none of these are necessary. And now we are done with our inputs and ready to run our optimizations. At the bottom of the screen, we have a couple of options, and we will select Save and Run. While the optimization is running, let's take a step back and talk about what exactly is going on in the background and how exactly the software is deciding where to put each media dollar in order to drive the greatest impact in the most efficient way. The software's algorithm synthesizes a wide variety of data sources, including each media lever's reach, frequency, duplication, composition, and CPMs. It considers information about profile segments to determine the differential impact by each media and target. By impact, we mean how many additional people in your target audience are changing their minds to, say, intend to purchase by seeing an additional ad on that media lever. Marketing Evolution's proprietary benchmark impact database includes over $300 billion in ROI analysis across a broad set of clients. The analysis is based on attribution modeling, which accounts for all factors influencing a consumer's decision, not just the last stop. And it considers the incremental impact for each additional frequency, meaning that a certain number of people will change their minds to, say, purchase a car by seeing just one ad. An additional 100,000 might be influenced with that second ad, another 50,000 with the third, another 25,000 with the fourth, and so on. Hundreds of potential combinations are calculated using our algorithm to deliver the most people for the least amount of money, giving you the best return on each dollar spent. Once the optimization has finished running, you will be brought to a results screen. Here we have our results, and at the top of the screen we have summary boxes. We can see that this plan will make over 42 million people aware of the brand. As we move down our results page, you'll see visuals that summarize the allocations made. And in the Reports tab, you can look at detailed views of the media plans. Here we have our roll-ups, and you can see that cable TV has the most spend and impact. And if we click on Media by Lever, we can see exactly how much money is being allocated to each individual lever. You can also see this by market. Export this table to Excel to see even more fields. On the Charts tab, you can dive into the spend by response curves driving the allocation decisions. Now you have a specific media plan for your upcoming campaign. It's also easy to duplicate this scenario and make small tweaks to play what-if scenarios to see how changes in budget, target, or objective will influence the campaign. Please see our Help tab for instructions on how to easily compare scenarios. And if you'd like to sign up for a live demo specific to your industry, contact sales@marketingevolution.com.